Welcome to Green Card for PhD. Before we begin, a quick disclaimer: the content of this presentation is solely for information purpose and not meant to be a legal advice. With the disclaimer out of the way, let's start the topic of the video. In this video we will discuss Green Card's self-petition process. What is it and why one would want to apply? Green Card generally refers to permanent residency status within the United States. Having a green card gives several advantages to the holder, especially for employment purposes, and most applicants seek a green card for this purpose. A green card self-petition refers to a petition that the applicant can apply on his own without any external sponsorship. Generally, most categories of green card applications require a sponsorship. However, there are two categories within the green card application category list that allow any eligible applicants to apply on their own without the need for any sponsoring agency. These two categories are EB-1A and EB-2NIW. We'll discuss about these in a little bit more detail later. Why self-petition? This is the most common question. There are several advantages of applying for green card through the self-petition process. The two categories we mentioned earlier do not require a sponsorship from an employer. This is particularly important if you are self-employed or seeking an employment that requires you to have permanent residency in the first place. The second big advantage is that there is no need to have a permanent job offer. Another advantage is that when beneficiaries self-petition, their application is not tied to any employer. This means beneficiaries have a great flexibility in changing jobs within their research or work area. On the contrary, if you applied using employer sponsorship, then your application is always tied to the employer until you have cleared certain stages in the application process. It is not convenient to be tied to an employer for many employees. Another advantage of the self-petition process is that the application can bypass the perm labor certification process, which can save some or significant amount of time depending on your application situation. The last two advantages are not specific to self-petition, but we mention them here for added completeness. Beneficiaries can be living in the United States or living outside the United States at the time of application. Beneficiaries can file for dependents. For example, concurrently filing allows applicant families to take immediate advantage of employment authorization for job purpose and advanced parole for travel abroad. A common question that we get asked normally is, do I need to have a certain type of visa to apply for either NIW category or the EB-1A category? Truly, anybody with or without a visa, irrespective of the type of visa, can apply for a self-petition. If you have a F1 visa or a J1 visa, then USCIS still allows applicants to do a self-petition. That said, there are some caveats. If you either have a J1 or an F1 visa, the very process of applying for a green card implies that you have an intent to immigrate. This intent inferred from a green card application is contradictory to J1 or F1 visa requirements. Therefore, you must take a careful approach if you are applying for a green card while on a J1 or an F1 visa. We will talk about this in detail in another video. This slide briefly describes the application process. There are a lot of details involved behind each of these applications. They will be discussed in detail in other videos. However, the general outline is described here. The application process consists of two stages. The first stage is I-140 application, which is a petition for permanent residency where the USCIS decides if you are eligible to get a green card or not. Approval of I-140 application implies that you are eligible to convert your current status into a permanent residency status. The I-140 application process is generally the same whether you are within the country or you're out of the country, except for a small difference in one of the sections that you fill out. The second step in the application process is obtaining the permanent residency visa. This is accomplished via an I-485 application if you are within the U.S. I-485 application seeks to adjust your current status to a permanent residency. This step is slightly different if you are not within the United States. You follow a process called consular processing if you are outside of the United States to obtain permanent residency. The choice of consular processing versus I-485 application is selected during the I-140 application. If you are just learning about the I-140 application process, then you probably have several other questions. What criteria do I need to satisfy to apply? What category do I choose, EB1A or NIW? What is the exact process I need to follow to apply for one of these applications? We'll answer these questions and many others in our rest of the videos. Please remember to like this video, subscribe, and watch our other videos. Green Card for PhD is a small team of professionals who have obtained their green cards via the process detailed in our videos and the DIY packets. Our DIY packets contain examples of successful applicants. Please visit our website to know more about the DIY packets.